All right, let's get some insight into the story now. We can speak to Bradley Bowman. He's the Senior Director of the Center on Military and Political Power at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He's joining us from D.C. Bradley, welcome to our show. General Milley said, we don't know if this is a Sputnik moment, is it?
Thanks for the opportunity to join you, and thanks for the question. You know, I would say this is a significant and concerning development that, in my view, underscores the need for the United States to modernize our own nuclear triad. But I do think we need to put it in perspective. I'd say we need to put it in perspective because, one, these capabilities are not entirely new. And two, China already has the means to conduct a massive and successful nuclear attack against the American homeland. So, you know, I can dig into more detail on each of those, but for those two reasons, I think we need to put it in somewhat perspective.
Bradley, let's take a step back. I mean, what are hypersonic weapons?
Yeah, you know, what makes this significant weapon unique is the way it combines different assets. So the way this particular system would work that China just tested is that it would take a large rocket and put a nuclear warhead in orbit. So that's where the term fractional orbital bombardment system comes from. And then at a time of their choosing, they would fire a small motor, which would make it fall out of orbit and then glide towards target. And that last part, glide, is kind of the new thing. And so really, as one expert put it, you can kind of think of this as imagine an enemy space shuttle with a nuclear weapon on it, but no landing gear. Right? So that's essentially what we're talking about. Why would China want this? Well, it provides really about 5 advantages for them. One, they could launch it around the South Pole, and most of our radars, and America's radars and sensors are focused on the North Pole. It would come in at a lower arc, which makes it a quicker flight, so it gives Americans less warning time. And the glider can evade our missile defense systems. We'd have less warning for people on the ground, and it would be difficult to intercept because the glider would be maneuvering. So if you combine all these things together, it is a very significant and serious development. But as I said already, they already have enough intercontinental ballistic missiles, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, and air-launched cruise missiles to conduct a successful nuclear attack on the American homeland. So, you know, it's not like we're suddenly vulnerable today and we weren't yesterday.
But how widespread beyond the U.S. and China is this technology?
No, this is combining it. You know, so the Soviets experimented with a similar technology during the Cold War. But the glider aspect of this and some of the modern improvements that China's making makes it more formidable. But yeah, no one right now fields a capability quite like what it looks like the Chinese are working toward. We have hypersonic missiles of a different nature, but I don't think America needs to match China weapon per weapon on this. Instead, I would recommend really the U.S. does 3 things. We should modernize our nuclear triad, as we're already doing. We should do more space-based missile detection, and we should focus on boost phase intercept. That's the vulnerable initial phase of a rocket as it's heading up into orbit.
You talked about
into space.
Bradley, you talked about China's strategy a little while ago. I mean, China has dismissed General Milley's confirmation, and on Saturday, the Ministry of Affairs had this to say about the use of this technology.
The US is the first country in the world to conduct research and development of hypersonic weapons. It is now still developing and even spreading hypersonic missile technology and investing trillions of dollars to upgrade its nuclear triad force.
So the Chinese Foreign Affairs Ministry, they're essentially saying the U.S. is already developing this technology. Bradley, are you at all concerned that we are entering into a new arms race?
The Beijing's already racing. I mean, just call a spade a spade. I mean, they are conducting the largest and most ambitious military modernization effort in the history of the People's Republic of China. They are dramatically, you know, the head of our strategic command said that China is, quote, we're seeing a strategic breakout by China, unquote, that he called, quote, breathtaking. They're increasing both the quantity and quality of their ICBMs. You've probably seen the reports about all the new silos that they're building. And the scariest part of this is they're doing it in a very opaque manner, unconstrained by international arms control agreements like the ones we have with Russia. So when we don't know exactly what they're doing, it makes American military planners assume the worst.
You mentioned the arms control treaty with Russia. You know, in the last arms race, the Soviet Union and the U.S. agreed on these treaties as a common goal. I mean, do you think that is the aim of the Biden administration in this new arms race?
I think the aim is to defend the United States and to convince Russia or China that we have the means to defend ourselves so that they would not conduct the attack in the first place. But let's not miss the connection between nuclear modernization and arms control, right? Your adversary is not going to come to the negotiating table unless you're doing something they don't like. So by modernizing our nuclear triad, we defend Americans and make the likelihood of nuclear war less likely. And we also give Beijing and Moscow incentives to come to the negotiating table in good faith.
What is the message China is trying to send the U.S. here?
I think China is trying to, as they say in their own documents, as Xi has said, they're trying to fill the world's preeminent military. They're trying to send a deterrent message. And they're trying to hone the ability to conduct a successful attack, a nuclear attack on the American homeland.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Bradley Bowman, Senior Director of the Center on Military and Political Power at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thanks so much for your analysis.
Thank you.